Anger is a powerful emotion, like a fire that can easily spiral out of control if we don't learn how to handle it. But what if I told you there's a way to transform that fire into something much more positive, like strength, wisdom, and peace? As the Buddha wisely said, you will not be punished for your anger, but by your anger. Today we'll dive into 8 lessons from Buddhist teachings that can help you not only manage your anger, but also use it as a tool for personal growth. Are you ready to uncover the secrets to mastering your emotions? 1. Self-reflection, your secret power. Self-reflection is a key tool in managing emotions like anger. But what is self-reflection exactly? Simply put, it's the act of looking inward and understanding your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Think of it like holding up a mirror to your mind to see what's truly going on beneath the surface. When we get angry, it's easy to blame outside factors, a rude person or a frustrating situation. But often, the root cause of anger is something deeper within us. That's why self-reflection is so important. The Buddha, a wise teacher who lived thousands of years ago, taught that recognizing the true source of our anger is the first step toward controlling it. Many times, anger stems not just from immediate events, but from unmet expectations, disappointments, or unresolved past experiences. For instance, if someone cuts in line and it enrages you, the anger might not just be about the line. It could stem from a deeper feeling of being disrespected, which has been brewing inside you for a long time. The Buddha famously said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." This highlights the importance of self-reflection. Our thoughts shape our emotions. If we're constantly thinking angry or negative thoughts, we'll continue to feel anger. But if we shift toward understanding and patience, we can transform those emotions and act with more kindness and calm. Self-reflection is like exercising your mind. Just like lifting weights strengthens your muscles, regularly reflecting on your thoughts makes your mind stronger and better equipped to handle tough emotions. When we practice this, we start to notice what triggers our anger. A trigger could be anything that sparks a strong emotional reaction, whether it's being ignored, criticized, or not getting our way. By reflecting on these triggers, we begin to recognize patterns. Maybe you notice that you get upset every time you feel unheard. Once you understand your triggers, you can start working on solutions, whether it's improving communication skills, building patience, or adjusting expectations. The good news is that with regular self-reflection, we can improve our ability to manage anger. Instead of immediately reacting when something upsets us, we can take a moment to pause and consider what's really happening. Are we genuinely angry at the situation, or is there something deeper going on? By asking ourselves these questions, we shift from anger to understanding and calm. Over time, this process becomes easier, and we gain more control over our emotions. Self-reflection is like a tool we can use to dig deeper and understand our true feelings, especially when it comes to anger. By taking the time to examine our thoughts and uncover the real reasons behind our anger, we can transform this powerful emotion into something more positive, like understanding and calm. As the Buddha taught, our thoughts shape our reality, and by regularly reflecting on them, we can create a more peaceful, balanced life. 2. Don't let others control your life. Anger often flares up when we allow the actions or words of others to disrupt our inner peace. But why does this happen? It's because as humans, we naturally care about what others think and say. When someone says something hurtful or does something we don't like, we feel upset, as if they've taken away our happiness. However, the Buddha, one of the greatest spiritual teachers, reminded us that we should never allow others to have control over our emotions. We are responsible for our own peace of mind, and we should never give that power away. Imagine how freeing it would be to not let anyone else dictate how you feel. Think of a time when someone said something mean to you and you instantly felt angry. In that moment, it's easy to react impulsively, whether by lashing out or holding on to the anger for hours or even days. But when we react this way, we are actually giving control of our emotions to the other person. They said something, and it made us feel upset, meaning they're deciding how we feel. The Buddha taught that this is a mistake. Instead of reacting right away, we should remain calm and take a moment to think. By doing this, we stay in control of our happiness. The Buddha's lesson, "You will not be punished for your anger, you will be punished by your anger," is a powerful reminder that holding on to anger only harms us. It can dominate our thoughts, upset our mood, and even affect our physical health. Tension, a racing heart, and sleepless nights may result from replaying negative events in our minds, while the other person might not even be aware or care that we're angry. In this way, anger becomes a self-imposed punishment. By choosing not to react impulsively, we protect our peace and remain in control of our emotions. We can protect our well-being by learning how to pause before reacting. Imagine someone says something hurtful to you. Instead of letting their words control your emotions, you take a deep breath and ask yourself, "Do I really want this to ruin my day?" That moment of reflection allows you to choose peace over anger. You realize that while you can't control what others say or do, you can control how you respond. You can decide to let it go and keep your inner peace intact. This doesn't mean you tolerate bad behavior, but rather you don't let negativity disrupt your emotional balance. In life, we're constantly tested. Whether it's someone cutting you off in traffic or a friend making an insensitive comment, it's easy to think anger is the only natural response. But here's the truth. You always have a choice. You can either react with anger, giving away control of your emotions, or you can choose to stay calm and centered. This choice is powerful because it means no matter what happens around you, you control your happiness. With practice, staying composed becomes easier, even in tough situations. The key is remembering that your emotions belong to you. External events or other people don't have to control them. When you decide not to react to negativity, you maintain your peace. And with that, you become stronger, more peaceful, and more in control of your life. Over time, you might notice that many things that used to anger you aren't worth your energy at all. By staying calm, you not only protect your own well-being, but also create a more peaceful environment for others around you. In conclusion, anger often flares up when we let other people's actions affect us. But the Buddha's teachings show us there's a better way. By practicing self-control and not reacting impulsively, we shield our inner peace and avoid the harmful effects of anger. The true harm of anger comes not from the situation itself, but from how we allow it to affect our lives. When we stay composed and mindful, we maintain control of our emotions and lead a life of greater peace and happiness. 3. The core of anger, ignorance. At the root of anger often lies ignorance, a lack of understanding about ourselves, others, or the situation we're in. This ignorance causes us to jump to conclusions or react without fully grasping what's really happening. The Buddha, a great spiritual teacher, taught that anger frequently stems from misunderstandings or false assumptions. When we don't fully understand a situation, we might feel threatened, confused, or frustrated, which leads to anger as a form of self-defense. However, the Buddha believed that seeking knowledge and clarity can dispel this ignorance, allowing us to replace anger with understanding. Instead of reacting in the heat of the moment, we can pause, reflect, and seek to understand the situation better, turning potential anger into wisdom and calm. Imagine a time when someone's actions upset you. Maybe a friend didn't invite you to a party and you felt hurt. Without asking for the reason, you might assume they ignored you on purpose, leading to feelings of anger. However, if you had taken the time to ask why, you might have discovered there was no ill intent at all. Perhaps they simply forgot or assumed you couldn't attend. In this case, your anger was based on a misunderstanding, and it could have been avoided with a bit more information and patience. The Buddha's teachings remind us that much of our anger stems from misunderstandings. By seeking clarity, we can avoid unnecessary negative emotions. One of the Buddha's most profound teachings is that ignorance fuels anger. When we don't fully understand a situation or someone else's perspective, we quickly feel threatened. This lack of knowledge breeds fear and frustration, which can easily spiral into anger. For example, if someone behaves rudely, our first reaction might be anger, because we assume they are trying to offend us. But if we take a moment to understand that perhaps they are having a bad day or struggling with personal issues, our anger can transform into compassion or patience. By looking at the bigger picture, we realize that many situations that anger us are not personal attacks, but rather reflections of deeper issues we're unaware of. The Buddha also said, "An idea that is developed and put into action is more important than an idea that exists only as an idea." This reminds us that simply knowing ignorance causes anger is not enough. We must act on that knowledge by actively seeking understanding and practicing compassion in our daily lives. It's one thing to understand that anger comes from not fully grasping a situation, but it's even more powerful to apply this understanding when we're feeling upset. When we take the time to ask questions, listen, and learn, we shift our perspective. Instead of reacting with anger, we respond with calm and wisdom. Understanding ourselves is a key part of this process too. Often our anger isn't just about what someone else did, but about our own insecurities, fears, or frustrations. For example, if someone criticizes us, we might react angrily because we're insecure about that specific issue. But if we take time to reflect on our emotions, we can understand the real source of our anger and address it without acting impulsively. This self-awareness helps us grow and manage difficult emotions in healthier ways. In conclusion, anger frequently stems from ignorance, whether it's a lack of understanding of a situation, another person, or even us. The Buddha's teachings encourage us to seek knowledge and clarity instead of reacting based on false assumptions or misunderstandings. By taking the time to learn and understand, we dispel the ignorance that fuels our anger and replace it with wisdom and peace. As the Buddha said, it's not enough to know these teachings, we must put them into practice. By doing so, we transform our perspective, reduce anger, and create a more peaceful and harmonious world for ourselves and those around us. Fourth, acknowledge anger as a natural emotion. Anger is a natural human emotion, something we all experience at different times. The Buddha taught that instead of denying or suppressing our anger, it's important to acknowledge it as part of being human. When we accept our anger without judgment, we take the first step towards managing it effectively. Suppressing anger often leads to greater emotional struggles, as these feelings build up over time and may eventually explode in unhealthy ways. By acknowledging our anger, we allow ourselves to feel it, but we don't let it control us. This process of recognition involves observing our anger with curiosity and compassion. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What triggered this emotion? Are there deeper needs or fears involved? By approaching anger with understanding, we can uncover the root cause. As the great Buddha once said, "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace." This reminds us that recognizing our emotions and responding with thoughtfulness is far more powerful than reacting impulsively. When we accept our anger, we can channel it into more constructive actions. For example, instead of lashing out, We can calmly communicate our feelings, engage in physical activity, or even explore creative outlets to release that energy. Acknowledging anger as a natural part of life helps us avoid feeling guilty or ashamed about it. Many people feel that anger reflects poorly on their character, but by recognizing that it's a normal response to certain situations, we can approach it with a balanced mindset. This acceptance also gives us the power to control how we act. Whether it means addressing the issue directly, taking time to cool off, or finding a peaceful solution, recognizing anger allows us to choose our response wisely. This not only helps in the moment, but also contributes to long-term emotional well-being. By understanding and managing our anger, we create a pathway to deeper self-awareness and personal growth. Acknowledging anger is crucial for achieving inner peace and harmony. Anger often signals that something within us needs attention, whether it's an unmet need, a crossed boundary, or an emotional wound that needs healing. By paying attention to what our anger is trying to communicate, we gain valuable insights into ourselves and our relationships. This self-awareness fosters personal growth and strengthens our connections with others. Moreover, acknowledging anger allows us to practice self-compassion. Instead of criticizing ourselves for feeling angry, we can treat ourselves with kindness and understanding. We accept that anger is a natural part of being human, and by embracing it without judgment, we take an essential step toward healing and transformation. Over time, this practice of self-compassion can reduce the intensity and frequency of anger, leading to a more peaceful and balanced life. In acknowledging and understanding our own anger, we also develop more empathy for others. We become better equipped to manage our emotions and respond thoughtfully, creating a more harmonious and peaceful existence for ourselves and those around us. 5. Practice forgiveness to free yourself. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful and transformative practices on the path to managing anger. The Buddha taught that holding on to anger and resentment is like carrying a heavy burden that weighs us down, preventing us from moving forward. When we refuse to forgive, we allow the actions or words of others to continue harming us long after the initial offense. Forgiveness, therefore, isn't just about the other person. It's primarily about freeing ourselves from the chains of bitterness and anger. As the Buddha wisely said, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. This profound insight highlights the self-destructive nature of anger and resentment. When we cling to these negative emotions, it's us who suffer. Our minds become preoccupied with thoughts of revenge, justice, or how things could have been different. This mental turmoil often leads to stress, anxiety, and even physical health issues, as our bodies respond to the emotional strain. Forgiveness, however, is a conscious choice to release this burden. It doesn't mean excusing the actions that caused harm or forgetting what happened. Instead, it's about acknowledging the pain and deciding not to let it control our lives any longer. Forgiveness allows us to choose peace over conflict and healing over hurt. Through forgiveness, we reclaim our power and regain control over our emotional well-being. The process of forgiveness can be challenging, especially when the hurt runs deep. It may take time, reflection, and even multiple efforts before we truly let go. The Buddha understood how difficult forgiveness can be, which is why he emphasized the importance of compassion, both towards others and us. By cultivating compassion, we begin to see the humanity in those who have wronged us, recognizing that they too are imperfect beings, often acting out of their own pain or ignorance. Forgiveness is also an act of profound self-compassion. When we forgive, we not only release the other person from our anger, but also free ourselves from the ongoing suffering that anger brings. This self-compassion is essential for our healing and personal growth. It enables us to move past the hurt and focus on building a future that isn't defined by past wrongs. Forgiveness can even open the door to reconciliation, whether with others or within ourselves. Sometimes, the person we most need to forgive is ourselves, for mistakes we've made, opportunities we've missed, or allowing ourselves to be hurt. Self-forgiveness is a powerful act of liberation, releasing us from guilt and shame and allowing us to move forward with a lighter heart. As we practice self-forgiveness, we become more capable of extending that same grace to others, fostering healthier and more compassionate relationships. By choosing to forgive, we release the weight of anger and resentment, opening ourselves to peace, happiness, and emotional freedom. This transformation leads not only to inner peace, but also to more harmonious connections with those around us, contributing to a kinder and more understanding world. 6. Use mindfulness to channel your anger. Mindfulness is one of the most powerful tools for managing and transforming anger. The Buddha taught that mindfulness, the practice of being fully present and aware of our thoughts, emotions, and surroundings, can help us observe our feelings without becoming overwhelmed by them. When we practice mindfulness, we develop the ability to notice anger as it arises instead of being swept away by it. This awareness creates a pause between the emotion and our response, allowing us to choose how we want to act instead of reacting impulsively. As the Buddha wisely said, "Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment." This quote captures the essence of mindfulness. By focusing on the present moment, we free ourselves from the regrets of the past and the anxieties of the future, two common triggers of anger. When we are fully present, we can experience our emotions without letting them dictate our actions. Mindfulness teaches us to observe our anger, understand its source, and then decide on a thoughtful, measured response. One key aspect of mindfulness is non-judgmental awareness. This means observing our anger without labeling it as good or bad, but simply acknowledging its presence. This approach can be incredibly liberating because it allows us to accept our emotions without adding layers of guilt or shame. Instead of thinking, "I shouldn't be angry," we learn to say, "I'm feeling angry right now, and that's okay." This acceptance is the first step toward managing anger constructively. Mindfulness also encourages us to explore the physical sensations that often accompany anger. Anger manifests in our bodies as tension, a racing heart, or shallow breathing. By bringing our attention to these sensations, we can start to calm ourselves physically, which in turn helps to calm our minds. For example, when we notice that our body is tense or our breath is shallow, we can intentionally relax our muscles and take deeper, slower breaths. This simple act of focusing on the breath can have a profound calming effect, allowing us to regain control over our emotions. Another benefit of mindfulness is that it helps us recognize the fleeting nature of emotions. Anger, like all emotions, comes and goes. When we practice mindfulness, we understand that emotions are temporary, and this realization makes it easier to sit with them without being overwhelmed. By observing our anger from a place of curiosity, we can ask ourselves questions such as, "Why am I feeling this way?" or "What triggered this anger?" This reflective process not only helps us manage the current situation, but also deepens our self-awareness, enabling us to prevent similar triggers in the future. Practicing mindfulness also enhances our ability to respond with compassion, both toward ourselves and others. When we become aware of our emotions in the present moment, we can better understand what's happening inside us and respond with kindness rather than judgment. This can lead to more constructive and peaceful interactions with those around us. Instead of reacting with anger or frustration, We can approach situations with calmness and patience, which fosters better communication and understanding. In conclusion, using mindfulness to channel our anger allows us to become more present and aware of our emotions. By creating space between our feelings and our reactions, we can make conscious choices about how to respond. This practice not only helps in managing anger, but also contributes to greater emotional balance, self-awareness, and inner peace. Through mindfulness, we learn to embrace our emotions without letting them control us, leading to a more harmonious and fulfilling life. 7. Elevate your life with the power of gratitude. Gratitude is a profound and transformative practice that can shift our entire perspective on life. The Buddha's teachings emphasize the importance of cultivating gratitude as it leads to greater happiness, contentment, and peace of mind. By focusing on what we have rather than what we lack, we can elevate our emotional state, reduce anger, and foster a deeper sense of well-being. Gratitude serves as an antidote to negative emotions like anger, frustration, and jealousy. When we focus on what we're thankful for, it's hard for anger to take root. In moments of anger, practicing gratitude allows us to redirect our attention from what has gone wrong to what is going right. This shift in perspective helps to soften the intensity of our anger, allowing us to approach situations with more clarity and peace. For example, imagine a scenario where someone has wronged you and you feel deeply hurt. Instead of letting the anger consume you, take a moment to reflect on the things you're grateful for, your health, your loved ones, or even the lessons this difficult situation might be teaching you. Gratitude reminds us that even in challenging times, there are still things worth appreciating. This practice helps us to release resentment and move towards a more balanced emotional state. Gratitude also enhances our relationships. When we take the time to express appreciation for the people in our lives, we strengthen our connections and reduce the chances of conflict. Instead of focusing on someone's shortcomings or mistakes, we can acknowledge the positive contributions they've made. This fosters a more compassionate and understanding approach, which can help prevent anger from arising in the first place. The Buddha taught that happiness comes not from external possessions or achievements, but from cultivating inner qualities like gratitude. By regularly practicing gratitude, we train our minds to focus on the positive aspects of life, which leads to a deeper sense of contentment and fulfillment. This doesn't mean ignoring life's challenges, but rather approaching them with a mindset of appreciation for the lessons they offer. A simple yet powerful way to incorporate gratitude into your daily life is through a gratitude journal. At the end of each day, take a few moments to write down 3 things you're grateful for. These can be small moments of joy, such as a kind word from a friend, or larger blessings like good health or a stable home. Over time, this practice will train your mind to naturally focus on the positive, making it easier to navigate difficult emotions like anger. Gratitude also helps us stay present in the moment. When we take the time to appreciate the good in our lives, we become more attuned to the present rather than dwelling on past grievances or future anxieties. This aligns with the Buddha's teaching on mindfulness, which encourages us to live fully in the here and now. By staying present and focusing on what we're grateful for, we cultivate a more peaceful and contented state of mind. Moreover, gratitude fosters resilience. Life is full of ups and downs, but those who practice gratitude are better equipped to handle setbacks with grace. They are able to see beyond temporary challenges and focus on the bigger picture, which allows them to bounce back from adversity more quickly. When anger or frustration arises, gratitude provides a buffer that helps prevent these emotions from overwhelming us. In conclusion, the practice of gratitude has the power to elevate every aspect of our lives. By shifting our focus away from negativity and toward appreciation, we can reduce anger, improve our relationships, and cultivate a deeper sense of happiness and peace. As the Buddha taught, the mind is everything. What we think, we become. By filling our minds with gratitude, we create a more joyful and harmonious existence. Gratitude is a transformative force that can uplift every aspect of our lives, including our ability to manage anger. The Buddha taught the importance of gratitude as a way to shift our focus from what we lack or what has gone wrong to appreciating the abundance and goodness that already exists. By practicing gratitude, we nurture a mindset of contentment and positivity, which significantly reduces feelings of anger and resentment. Anger often stems from a sense of loss, whether it's of our time, respect, or a valued opportunity. In these moments, we may find it easy to focus on what's missing or what has hurt us. However, the Buddha's teachings remind us to regularly reflect on the positive aspects of our lives, no matter how small they may seem. This practice helps us to reframe our perspective, allowing us to recognize the joy, love, and connection that fills our lives. As the Buddha once said, "Let us rise up and be thankful, for if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little." This quote encapsulates the essence of gratitude, which is about finding something to be thankful for in every situation, even in our challenges. By actively cultivating gratitude, we create a buffer against anger. Instead of dwelling on what went wrong or wishing for a different outcome, we can focus on the many blessings in our lives. This shift in focus fosters a sense of inner peace and resilience, making us less prone to emotional outbursts or harboring grudges. Gratitude also transforms our relationships. When we express appreciation toward others, it strengthens bonds and promotes mutual respect and understanding. This positive dynamic helps prevent conflicts from escalating into anger. By regularly acknowledging the kindness, support, and efforts of those around us, we create an atmosphere where anger has little room to grow. In this way, our relationships become nourished by appreciation and understanding, contributing to greater harmony and less conflict. The benefits of practicing gratitude extend to our mental and emotional well-being. Numerous studies have shown that people who regularly engage in gratitude experience lower levels of stress, anxiety, and depression. Gratitude shifts our focus from negative emotions to a more positive and optimistic outlook. With reduced stress and negativity, we are far less likely to react with anger when things don't go our way. Instead, we approach challenges with a calmer, more balanced mindset. Furthermore, gratitude encourages us to stay present. Anger often arises when we dwell on past grievances or worry about future outcomes. Gratitude, on the other hand, anchors us in the present moment. It reminds us to appreciate what we have here and now, rather than fixating on what we lack or fear may come. This present moment focus diminishes the intensity of anger as we become more mindful of the good that surrounds us in each moment. Gratitude is also a powerful tool for self-compassion. Often we are our own harshest critics, which can lead to anger directed inward. Practicing gratitude toward ourselves, acknowledging our strengths, efforts, and achievements, can soften this inner criticism and replace it with kindness and understanding. When we treat ourselves with the same compassion we extend to others, we create a more forgiving and nurturing inner environment. In conclusion, gratitude has the power to transform our relationship with anger. It helps us shift from a mindset of lack to one of abundance, leading to a more peaceful, content, and harmonious life. By practicing gratitude, we foster greater self-awareness, deepen our relationships, and create an emotional space where anger no longer dominates, but is instead replaced by understanding and compassion. This self-compassion helps reduce the likelihood of turning our frustrations inward, allowing us to maintain a more balanced and forgiving attitude toward ourselves. Gratitude is also closely linked to the concept of abundance. When we focus on what we are grateful for, we begin to recognize the richness of our lives. This sense of abundance can counteract feelings of scarcity that often fuel anger. Instead of feeling deprived or that something is missing, we come to understand that we have enough and that we are enough. This shift in perspective can be liberating, freeing us from the need to compare ourselves to others or constantly strive for more. The practice of gratitude fosters humility, reminding us that much of what we have, be it our health, relationships, or opportunities, comes from the contributions of others and the world around us. This awareness can diminish the sense of entitlement that often leads to anger when our expectations go unmet. Instead, we learn to approach life with appreciation and acceptances, helping us navigate disappointments and challenges with grace. 8. Strengthen self-control for a more balanced life. Self-control is a cornerstone of emotional intelligence and personal growth, playing a crucial role in managing anger and maintaining a balanced life. The Buddha taught that developing self-control is not about suppressing our emotions or desires, but about cultivating the wisdom and discipline to respond thoughtfully to life's challenges. In a world filled with distractions and provocations, strengthening self-control is key to navigating life with grace and resilience. At its core, self-control is the ability to regulate our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors in the face of temptations, impulses, or stress. When it comes to anger, self-control allows us to pause before reacting, providing the space to choose a response that aligns with our values rather than being driven solely by raw emotion. The Buddha emphasized that by mastering our minds, we can prevent negative emotions like anger from controlling us. As he said, "It is a man's own mind, not his enemy or foe, which lures him to evil ways." This insight reminds us that our true challenges often lie within, and that self-control is essential for overcoming them. Strengthening self-control begins with self-awareness. By regularly reflecting on our thoughts and actions, we can identify patterns and triggers that lead to anger. This awareness is the first step toward change, as it allows us to catch ourselves before falling into old habits. For instance, if we notice that certain situations or individuals tend to provoke us, we can mentally and emotionally prepare ourselves, deciding in advance how we want to respond. This proactive approach can help us maintain composure and avoid the regrets that often follow impulsive reactions. Self-control is closely tied to mindfulness, the practice of being fully present and aware of our experiences without judgment. Mindfulness enables us to observe our emotions as they arise without immediately acting on them. When we are mindful, we can acknowledge our anger without letting it dictate our behavior. This self-regulation allows us to create a buffer between our emotional responses and our actions, fostering a sense of inner peace and balance. As we strengthen our self-control, we not only manage anger more effectively, but also cultivate resilience in the face of life's challenges. This balanced approach empowers us to respond thoughtfully, reinforcing our values and enhancing our overall emotional well-being. Through the teachings of the Buddha, we learn that self-control is not merely about restraint. It is about embracing our capacity for growth, understanding, and compassion in every situation we face. This gives us the opportunity to choose a more constructive response, such as taking a deep breath, stepping away from the situation, or calmly communicating our feelings. Over time, mindfulness and self-control reinforce each other, creating a powerful cycle of awareness and intentionality. Another important aspect of self-control is patience. The Buddha often spoke of patience as a virtue that protects us from the harm of anger and other destructive emotions. Patience allows us to endure difficult situations without losing our cool, wait for the right moment to act, or accept that some things are beyond our control. By practicing patience, we give ourselves the time and space to process our emotions and respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. This approach not only helps in managing anger, but also contributes to our overall mental and emotional well-being. Self-control also involves setting boundaries, both with ourselves and with others. This means recognizing our limits and avoiding situations likely to trigger anger or other negative emotions. It also means being assertive in communicating our needs and expectations, ensuring that others do not push us beyond our comfort zones. By setting and respecting boundaries, we protect our emotional health and reduce the likelihood of situations escalating into anger. Discipline is another key component of self-control. Discipline involves consistently making choices that align with our long-term goals and values, even when it's challenging. In managing anger, discipline might include regular practices like meditation, journaling, or physical exercise, all of which can help regulate emotions and build resilience. It may also involve avoiding known triggers, seeking support from friends or mentors, or practicing techniques like deep breathing or visualization to calm the mind. Through discipline, we strengthen our ability to choose how we respond to challenges rather than being driven by immediate emotional reactions. Self-control is closely linked to the concept of delayed gratification, which is the ability to resist the temptation of immediate rewards in favor of larger, long-term benefits. In the context of anger, this might mean resisting the urge to lash out in the moment, knowing that doing so would only create more problems in the long run. Instead, we might choose to step back, cool down, and address the issue when we feel more balanced and clear-headed. This ability to delay gratification not only helps in managing anger, but also contributes to greater success and satisfaction in various areas of life. Building self-control is a gradual process that requires practice and persistence. It's important to be patient with ourselves as we develop this skill, recognizing that setbacks are a natural part of the journey. The Buddha's teachings remind us that every effort we make towards greater self-control is a step toward a more peaceful and fulfilling life. Over time, as we strengthen our self-control, we find ourselves becoming less reactive, more resilient, and better equipped to handle life's ups and downs with equanimity. Self-control contributes to a more balanced life by helping us maintain harmony in our relationships. When we can control our anger and other strong emotions, we communicate more effectively, resolve conflicts peacefully, and build stronger, more positive connections with others. This harmonious approach enriches our interactions, fostering a sense of community and support, and ultimately leading to a more fulfilling life. This not only enhances our personal and professional relationships, but also contributes to our overall happiness and well-being. Self-control serves as the foundation of a balanced and fulfilling life, empowering us to navigate challenges with wisdom and grace. It helps us maintain our inner peace amidst external chaos and build a life that reflects our highest values and aspirations. The Buddha's teachings on self-control remind us that while the journey may be challenging, the rewards are profound. Greater peace, happiness, and harmony within ourselves and in our relationships with others. As we've journeyed through these 8 Buddha lessons on controlling anger, it has become clear that managing this powerful emotion is not about ignoring or suppressing it, but about transforming it into something more positive. Anger, while natural, can become destructive if left unchecked. However, the Buddha's wisdom teaches us that we have the ability to take control of this emotion and guide it towards understanding, compassion, and peace. Each of the lessons we've explored, from self-reflection to cultivating mindfulness and gratitude, offers a different path toward mastering our emotions and finding balance in our lives. The first lesson, self-reflection, helps us look inward to understand the deeper causes of our anger. Instead of reacting impulsively, we take the time to examine what's really bothering us. Is it the situation at hand, or is there a deeper issue at play? Often, anger arises from unmet expectations or past experiences that trigger negative emotions. By reflecting on our thoughts and feelings, we can recognize these patterns and address them, allowing us to respond calmly instead of lashing out in anger. Strengthening self-control is another essential part of managing anger. The Buddha taught that we should not let external events dictate our internal state. When we allow other people's words or actions to affect us, we give away our power. Instead, by practicing self-control and refraining from immediate reactions, we regain control over our emotions. This doesn't mean ignoring what's happening around us. Rather, it's about choosing how we respond. Over time, this practice helps us cultivate a sense of calm, even in difficult situations. One of the key takeaways from the Buddha's teachings is that anger doesn't have to define us. It's a natural part of being human, but it's not who we are. Anger is an emotion, and like all emotions, it comes and goes. The challenge lies in learning how to deal with it in a healthy way. Through mindfulness, we can observe our anger without letting it take over. Mindfulness teaches us to pause, breathe, and become aware of our emotions without judgment. This simple practice can significantly impact how we experience and express anger. Compassion, gratitude, and forgiveness are also powerful tools for managing anger. When we feel angry, it's often because we perceive that we've been wronged in some way. However, by cultivating compassion, we learn to see things from other people's perspectives. We recognize that everyone faces their own challenges, and sometimes their hurtful actions reflect their own pain rather than a personal attack. Gratitude helps us focus on the positive aspects of life, making it easier to let go of anger. Forgiveness allows us to release the burden of resentment, freeing us from the cycle of anger and negativity. In conclusion, the journey of managing anger through these teachings provides a pathway to greater emotional resilience and fulfillment. By integrating these principles into our lives, we can navigate the complexities of our emotions with greater ease and grace, ultimately leading to a more harmonious existence. The path to mastering anger is indeed a lifelong journey. It's not something that happens overnight, but with patience, persistence, and self-compassion, we can make meaningful progress. There will be times when we fall back into old habits or react impulsively, but that's perfectly okay. What truly matters is that we keep trying, keep practicing, and keep learning. Each step we take brings us closer to greater peace and understanding, not just of our anger, but of ourselves. As you integrate these teachings into your daily life, you will likely notice that your anger diminishes and your overall sense of well-being increases. Situations that used to make you furious may no longer hold the same power over you. Instead, you'll be better equipped to navigate life's challenges with more grace, resilience, and a calmer mind. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the Buddha's timeless wisdom on controlling anger. We hope these lessons inspire you to approach life with an open heart and a peaceful mind. Remember, the journey toward mastering anger is ongoing, but each step brings you closer to a more balanced and fulfilling life. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with others who may benefit from these teachings. Until next time, may you find peace in every step of your journey.